Hello, friends. This is Darren Hayes of PigskinDispatch.com. Before we take you to your favorite Sports History Network show, just want to tell you a little bit about some merch that you can pick up that represents your favorite SHN podcast. So far, there's t-shirts, coffee mugs, and even books from some of the authors that do podcasts right here on SHN. Who could buy something better than that, than have the history right from the gentleman that you hear talking about it? But we also are adding things each and every day. And where's that store, may you ask? Well, it's at SportsHistoryNetwork.com. Up at the top, there is the SHN merch button. Click on that. It'll take you right to the store, and you can be representing your favorite podcast and show the world that, hey, on the swag that I'm using, it's the headquarters of sports yesteryear, Sports History Network, and my favorite podcaster, the Sports History Network store. Shop there today. Now it's time to take a sports break, a look at sports history on a daily basis. Hello, my friends in sports history. This is Darren Hayes of the Sports Jersey Dispatch podcast. Welcome once again to the Pig Pen, your place for all things great in sports history. And we have your greatest events that's happened on November 6th in your sports break today, and the uniform numbers of the players that made these great athletic events that we remember so well. Before we get to those, though, let's make sure that you know about our newsletter. Each and every day, 6:30 a.m., the Pig Pen presents our topics of the day in both Pigskin Dispatch, Orville Mulligan, and JerseyDispatch.com, as well as some great excerpts from Sports History Network of what they have posting over there as well, and some of our other friends too occasionally. So you can get it each day by just simply signing up. 2 simple questions. The very show notes of this podcast can get you a link to get signed up for our daily newsletter. Now for November 6th, your uniform numbers we'll talk about today are 35, 17, 28, 32, and number 23. We'll start off in the year of 1961 on November 6th, and the United States government issued a stamp honoring the 100th birthday of one guy named James Naismith. It's an interesting thing. Naismith was reportedly to actually be born in Canada. He's a Canadian legend, but this legend invented a game of basketball here in America, in Massachusetts, and is often credited with possibly being the first to wear head protection on a gridiron when he was a collegiate player. Very interesting guy in sports history. November 6, 1969, the inaugural Cy Young Award was a tie between Mike Sillier, number 35 of the Baltimore Orioles, and number 17 of the Detroit Tigers, Denny McLain. November 6, 1974, the Los Angeles Dodgers, their star Mike Marshall, number 28, was the first relief pitcher in the history of the award to win a Cy Young Award. That's pretty interesting. November 6, 1983, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, number 32, a running back, James Wilder. Well, he went wild on the football field as he rushed for 219 yards against the Minnesota Vikings defense. November 6, 1990, who remembers this guy? Atlanta Braves, number 23, David Justice. Well, he won the National League Rookie of the Year as he was a great hitter for the Atlanta Braves in those early 90s years. November 6, 1995, Art Modell, well, infamously officially announced that the original Cleveland Browns team that he owned was moving to Baltimore, Maryland. Of course, we know that this team would no longer be called the Browns, not allowed to take the trademarks, records, and naming rights to the city of Baltimore. They would be known as the Baltimore Ravens, starting off pretty much as a new franchise, except for all the veteran players they had on the roster and front office and that. And a couple years later, the Cleveland Browns would reemerge as a new franchise there on the banks of Lake Erie in northern Ohio. So that is your sports history for this November 6th. It's your sports break, once again, that we do each and every day, trying to bring you some of the great sports history that we know so well, want to remember, or maybe didn't know, and learn a little something each and every day, and the great athletes and their uniform numbers that we try to identify here, because after all, we are JerseyDispatch.com. So till tomorrow, everybody, have a great sports history day. Sorry, but my pitching coach just called timeout and he's coming out to the mound. I think I'm going to get yanked for a reliever. We'll see you back tomorrow for some more great sports history on Sports Jersey Dispatch Podcast. We invite you to check out our websites, JerseyDispatch.com and PigskinDispatch.com. Not only see the daily sports history, but to experience the preservation of great events and people that play the games. Find us on Pigskin Dispatch. It's also on social media outlets of Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and don't forget the Pigskin Dispatch YouTube channel. Get all your daily sports history. Pigskin Dispatch is happy to be associated with the Sports History Network, the sports headquarters of yesteryear, found at sportshistorynetwork.com.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com. Hey there, sports history fan. This is Arnie Chapman, aka the Football History Dude, and I hope that you enjoyed this recent episode presented by the Sports History Network and were able to learn some good old-fashioned sports history knowledge nuggets. I started the Sports History Network back in 2020 with the mission to help podcasters find a community of like-minded sports history nerds, as well as helping aspiring podcasters to start their own shows. We have a little bit over 30 shows on the network right now covering all sorts of sports history, but as far as I'm concerned, we're just at the toothpick in the ocean moment, that can't even figure it out because there's so much more coming. We wanted to create the ultimate headquarters for sports yesteryear, starting with Podcast Network and our website, but we're going to continue to move into other mediums as well. And here's the cool part, because we want you to be part of our team. So if you're interested in starting your own podcast, or maybe being a guest on one of our shows, or who knows, maybe even writing an article for us over on the website. Seriously, all you gotta do is reach out to us on the contact page over at sportshistorynetwork.com. You can be as technologically savvy as a Neanderthal tapping on a stone trying to figure out this whole hieroglyphics thing back in the day. Again, it doesn't matter, because even if you don't understand the whole podcast space, we have a production team that can pretty much help you out with doing everything. All you gotta do, head over to sportshistorynetwork.com, head to the contact page, fill it out. That message goes right to me, and I'll reach out to you as soon as I can. But for now, dude, I'm through if you're through.